Ziegler, the Alpha Dog. This is a show I've been looking forward to. We're going to talk about generations. You know, you've often heard me say that I know this guy and I know that guy, and I've known this guy for 35 years. I've known this guy for 25 years. Well, our next guest, I've known his dad for probably 25 years. I don't know, a long time. But now we're talking about the new generation. We're going to talk about what's changed, what we are changing, what's working, what's not working. Ladies and gentlemen, local Atlanta dealer. These guys are starting to build a mega empire. My friend Mike Sobh. Hi, Mike.
Hey, Jim. How you doing?
Best day of my entire life, and now I'm talking to you. I'm excited.
Well, likewise. Thanks for having me.
Where are you today?
I'm in Cumming, Georgia right now.
Fantastic. You're not too far from me. I'm over in Chateau Alon.
Okay. Yeah. No.
Yeah, I'm right around the bay. So you were by the lake.
Yes.
Fantastic. Which store?
The Honda store. We actually have the Honda store and the Kia store right here in Cumming. We have 28 acres here, and they're right next door to each other. So this is our home base. Really, we're here in Cumming and with the Honda and the Kia.
Okay.
That's from home. So.
Well, how active is Dad? Is he still in?
Dad's still in. Dad's still buying cars. He's got into collecting some older cars. He's having a lot of fun with that. Actually, he just got back from Vegas yesterday. He went to the Barrett Jackson auction. So he's having a lot of fun collecting cars. And he still comes in every day. Every day he's in town, he's here. So
us old car dogs, you're not going to get rid of us that easy.
His favorite quote is, "Old men are like old cars. You park them, they die." So he says, "I need to keep on moving and keep on doing stuff." And he's getting into some real estate and some other fun stuff. So he's having fun.
Fantastic. You know, you talk about the old timers. You and I were talking off air. My good friend Billy Facilla just passed away. Number one Hyundai dealer in history, I believe. He moved a lot of iron. Let me ask you, how many stores do you guys have now?
Currently, we have 4. We're a little spread out. We have the Honda store here in Cumming, as well as the Kia. We have a Honda store in Jacksonville, Florida, and we have the Kia store in Cerritos, California.
Wow.
And then we are in the process of building 4 more stores, 4 more open points.
That's kind of unusual because I've always heard you shouldn't build a store that you can't drive to in a day. You got one in Cerritos, California, Jay. You are spread out. How difficult is that to manage?
Not bad because we have great partners. We have great people. Just every business is as good as its people. So you have great people. We can trust them. We actually have partners out there that help watch the business. So it is my dad goes out there every month, and I'll go out there every other month. So it's really not hard. And even the furthest one away, Kia Cerritos, it was the number 1 Kia store in the country last year. So they did pretty good.
Wait a second. Number 1 in the country in Kia?
In Kia, yes. We were number 1 in the country last year.
Fantastic. What do you attribute that to?
It's a great market, great area. Stay aggressive. We're in the Cerritos Auto Mall. So right now there's Norm Reeves Honda out there, who is usually number 1, and then the Toyota store right there, and us are flip-flopping 2 and 3. But just great people. We stay aggressive. We got a great GM down there, and they rock and roll down there. So,
because you're talking about partners, are these buy-in partners? What is the partner arrangement? Don't get into detail, but
basically, when we opened the store, we used to have a Saturn store, and my dad gave the people at Saturn an opportunity to buy in for a certain percentage of the store in 2011. So it was an open point from Kia. We closed down the Saturn store. And then we went ahead and got the Kia store, and they were able to buy in as partners.
Okay, so now you're basically running the operation today. I know Dad's, like you said, Dad's still hanging on, but yes. How much of the operation are you running today?
Right now, the majority of it, all the day-to-day operations. I mean, I'm here over the Honda stores, both Honda stores and the Cumming store. So, again, Tim Peeler, our GM over in Jacksonville, he does a fantastic job.
Is Tim work for you?
Oh yeah, Tim Peeler's been here for years. Yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah.
You know the story about me and Peeler? You know the whole story?
I don't.
But when I first got in the car business, I lived at Century 21 Apartments in Jacksonville. And Peeler lived right across the hallway. I was in G71. I think he was in G73.
Oh
And
wow.
the Leonard Skinner boys and the 38 Special boys, the bands used to come over our apartment and jam. They were all neighborhood kids.
Oh wow.
I don't know if Peeler told you about that.
No, he didn't.
No, man. I mean, Peeler and I go way, way back. We're talking 76.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's awesome. No, he's our GM there and does a great job. And obviously, I go visit the store quite a bit, and then we talk on the phone very frequently.
He and his wife Susie are good friends with us. Yeah, I know him extremely well.
Yeah.
Isn't it a small world? I can't believe it. Just incredible.
Mm-hmm.
So what have you changed? Now, Dad had his processes, and of course I've had to change my processes. What was a major change that you're implementing right now? What digital retail? What are you doing?
Yeah, I mean that's the biggest thing. When my dad was running the stores when we first came to Atlanta in the late '80s, early '90s, obviously traditional media was big. Cable TV, newspaper. That was our number one source of advertising was the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. I mean, we would spend six figures a month with the AJC.
Well, paper is still real effective if you're training a puppy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you spend beaucoup dollars a month on an AJC, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. But now what's changed? What's changing?
Really, of course, digital. The digital retailing is something that we all have to get on board in, or we get left behind. One big thing is we don't really do any radio anymore, any TV. It's really just grassroots, which is a big deal to me. Digital retailing, digital marketing, and believe it or not, as archaic as it sounds, billboards.
Really?
Billboards, yeah. It's Auto Trader did a study for us one time. We were actually getting ready to cancel them, just like everyone else was about 7-8 years ago. And so they wanted to prove to me where all our media was coming from and how they were a great source for us. So they did this independent study free of charge, and it was actually a great study. What they did is they pulled all of our customers within a 6-month range and said what led. They had several questions, but basically one of them was, how did you hear about this dealership? And would you believe it that the number one answer out of all of them was our billboard? on the billboard.
Auto Trader paid for that.
I'm sorry?
The Auto Trader paid to find out that billboards were your number one source.
Yeah, so we have a great billboard right there on 400. We've had it since we've opened. It's just a branding billboard. It's a still billboard. It's nothing fancy, nothing digital. It just says Lou Sobh Honda on one side and Key on the other, and go up there, take a right half mile, and that thing paid $3,500 a month for it, and it's our number one source of advertising.
I bought a Ford product here about 6 years ago, and I was cracking up because right over the Ford dealership was the competitor's billboard. I mean, right there over their used car lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. How'd you miss that?
Well, that's why we have one. We have one right over our board, right over our dealership, and we didn't want anyone else to get it. So we pay for it, even though it's right outside our dealership. But we know someone else will.
Somebody will buy that for darn sure.
Somebody will just to get us.
A lot of people are doing concierge delivery, and we're just coming out of COVID. Well, first of all, before I even ask that question, how are you doing for inventory?
Inventory, it's tight, just like everywhere else. Our Cerrito store, we're down to 250 units in stock, and they're selling 500 new a month. Our Kia store here in Cumming, We have 18 on the ground right now, and we're selling 120 to 150 a month. But we have quite a few coming in, but we're selling them as they're coming in. With Honda, same with Coming and Jacksonville. About 2 years ago, when everyone started turning down cars because it was looking like everyone was loaded with all this inventory, there was a lot of turn downs with Honda, and I just I told our guys, I'm like, I'm not turning anything down. We're just going
Wait a
to
minute. This goes back. This goes back to Lou.
Yeah, I mean, this is a few years ago because but it helped translate into today, where we just took everything we could, and then we took all the turn downs that other dealers had that were in our market, and it really propelled us up. And so right now with Honda, we got about 150 new in stock, which is a decent supply considering.
Well, starting back, and I'm going to ask a question I probably know the answer to. How did the Sobh family get in the car business start? Where was the beginning?
The beginning was 1967 in Gary, Indiana. My dad was working in the steel mills.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was working the steel mills right after the Army. And I don't know if you know Dino Velasquez.
I sure do.
Okay, so he owns a lot of stores in Alabama, including Milton's, his hometown. Well, they've been best friends growing up. And Dino was selling cars at McInerney Ford in Gary, Indiana. And he kept on saying, Lou, you got to come sell cars. You got to come sell cars. My dad's like, well, you know what, Dino? I'm doing great here in the steel mills. The benefits are great. I'm making $11 an hour. Life is great. Or I'm sorry, not $11 an hour, 11,000 a year.
11,000, big money.
11,000 a year. He goes, why would I go? So he kept on pressuring him, and finally, Dino's like, he showed him his paycheck at the time, and it was like $5,000, it was like $16,000 a year. And my dad goes, okay, I'll do it. And he always tells everyone that Dino sold them out for $100 because at the time they had a bird dog, and if you brought in a salesperson, you got $100. So he says, Dino, you sold me out for $100. But that's how he got his start in '67 selling Fords. And I tell you what, he's my dad. He's just ball of energy, knows the business, knows people, knows how to service people. And he made it up to GM in 6 months.
I didn't know that part of the story. That was a part of the story I wasn't aware of. When I think excuse me, when I think about your dad, I think Family Guy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, your family is so close, and I think he started the business in what's 88.
Well, he ended up in Georgia when we got his first full store. It was in Conyers, Georgia, in 1990. Buick Pontiac GMC. It was McGivney Buick Pontiac GMC. It was a bankrupt store, weeds growing through the cracks. He came in, and it was a Motors Holding deal. And I don't know if you know Jim Cunningham, but
I do.
Okay, so he ended up being our COO, and he worked for Motors Holding at the time. But 10 years later, he came to work for us, and he said everyone in their office was like, "Man, that poor Lou, he doesn't know what he's getting into. He'll be broke in 6 months."
I had been working for McNamara Pontiac just prior to that.
Op La Vista.
Oh, exactly. Dennis McNamara. I was a top salesman there, and I was the lease manager, and that was just before I got into F&I. But yeah, but McGivney, that was that was the local joke. I mean, it was terrible.
Yeah. So really, we got our start in 1990, and then we got an open point in Duluth, another Buick Pontiac GMC, which that became the number 2 store.
Oh wow! You had an ocean of inventory there.
Oh yeah, that was a monster. Yeah,
right across from the mall.
Right across from the mall. So we had Buick, Pontiac, GMC, Hummer, and the Isuzu there, and then we just grew from there to 2007. Fast forward to 2007, we had 14 GM stores and 1 Honda store, and now we've completely revamped. So we've gone actually from 14 GM stores down to 0.
I think Lee was your manager at Duluth, wasn't he?
Lee.
I can't think of his last name. Just yeah, I we'll think of it.
Yeah.
Not important. But anyway, get back to digital retail. We saw the history. You had all the GM points. You unloaded the GM points. Now you've got Hyundai, Kia, Honda, and I guess
Yeah, Hyundai. We actually have Honda, Kia. So we have 3 Honda stores, 4 Kia stores, and a Volkswagen store that we're about to build.
fantastic. Volkswagen, that's going to be interesting for you.
That's good. Yeah, it's gonna be in Athens, Georgia, so that one I can drive to, so that's good. And the other Kia stores in Noonan, so we can drive to that. So we're trying to get new stores now that we can drive to.
Okay, we're talking about digital retail. We started on that, and then I got nostalgic with you with how your dad started the stores. Because I'm always interested in the history. And then you mentioned Tim Peeler, and I'm going, what? I forgot about that. Yeah, Tim and I go back to when we were a little younger, more carefree.
Yeah.
Sometime ask Tim about when they entered me in the tough guys competition.
I'll ask him.
I got knocked out in 45 seconds.
Well, Tim's still playing hockey to this day, so.
Oh, funny stuff. Okay, digital retail. We said newspapers not working. We know that radio and all the electronic media have ceased to be as effective as they were. Now we're getting into digital.
Yes.
Are you using the vendors, or what are you doing?
With digital, our big thing is, we partner with a marketing company, and we spend a good portion of our budget. We spend about a third of our budget at each store a month with this company, and they do all of our SEM, SEO, all our campaigns that we have for that month. And we meet on a monthly basis, and we figure out where to allocate different areas of the budget. But one thing that we really did that we weren't doing very well, that we didn't really give enough credit for, is the social media part of the business of the digital. We had, and no offense to people who were doing it, but we had the guy. Everyone has a guy in the store that posts Facebook and posts a couple pictures here and there. But when COVID hit, and I was sitting at home for basically a month, trying to figure out what our next step was, I decided to really make us relevant in social media. Because one thing I can say is all of our efforts we did on social media, we weren't relevant. Like, I wouldn't want to be our friend, because whatever we were saying was kind of, didn't make a whole lot of sense and wasn't entertaining. So I actually hired a social media manager for all of our stores. So she's been in charge of doing all our Facebook and Instagrams and website blogs, trying to optimize the website. So all those things go hand in hand.
And how effective was that for you?
Extremely, because I've really saw our digital efforts really go up. And then the other thing is, and I hate to say it, but I Googled Carvana, and I said, how are these guys so successful? So I went and looked at the website, and they have a truck delivering their car with their Carvana on the side. So I was like, why can't we do that?
Why didn't you do that? Yes.
So that's what we did. We didn't want to just say we'll deliver cars to your home and have the salesperson go deliver it, bring the trade back, and that's it. We kind of wanted to make a bigger splash. So we went ahead and did the Sobh Express delivery shuttle. So
how much of that are you doing?
I'm sorry?
How much of that are you doing?
I'm doing about 25 a month right now. It's not where we want it, but we're trying to grow it. But we got the truck. We got a 24-foot trailer. So when we go to deliver vehicles now, it has all our branding. All the neighbors see it. People see it on the road. When it's parked at a stoplight. So we really did the best we could to brand it, and it's I want to do more than 25 a month, but that's just here in coming alone. But I think we'll as it continues to grab traction, it's going to be more.
See, that's one of the things that I recognize the Sobh organization. You guys brand. And people don't understand branding. Jim Farley, CEO of Ford. I, I just got a new Lincoln Aviator,
Hmm.
and I sent Farley a message. I said, nowhere on the back of the vehicle does it say the name Aviator. It says Lincoln, but it doesn't say the model name. And people are already confused about what models Lincoln has.
Hmm.
Branding 101. Number one thing you should do in branding is put the name of the vehicle all over it so people see it in traffic, they see it. And that's what you did with the truck.
That's what we did with the truck.
Exactly.
And then when it came down to doing all our social media advertising, we didn't advertise price. Right now there's no sense in advertising price.
Oh no, no.
Everyone knows what the price is. So you're not talking about the deal. You're talking about a consistent image and a consistent branding. So our branding has been, we did a whole footage of our Sobh Express delivery service. So that's what people have been seeing. They haven't been seeing on the course for $299. They've been seeing, we're delivering your vehicle. Because if you think about it, you live in Atlanta. What reason would someone that lives inside the perimeter have to come to Cumming to shop for a car? Why are they going to pass all these dealers to come see us? So the only way we're going to capture them is to have the vehicle and have the message saying we will deliver it to you. If we don't have that, if we don't continue to do that, our market share is never going to increase. I mean, we'll be at the mercy of, yeah, we're in a fast growing county in Forsyth County. We're in a great demographic. Yes, all that is true, but we're at the mercy of all that. So we're trying to take a little bit, put our destiny in our own hands a little bit more, and try and branch out a little bit more and get those deals that we normally wouldn't have gotten.
Everybody's afraid of Vroom and Carvana, and first of all, they're a very small percentage of the market. They're very profitable, and don't get me wrong, they're very profitable, but they're not a big noticeable percentage if you look at the whole pie.
Mm-hmm.
Dealers still dominate our space.
Absolutely.
And we can do what they do better than they do it.
Absolutely. But if we all did it and we all had the same message and we all said, you know what, we offer that service too, there would be no Carvana, would be no Vroom.
No, there would not be. I mean, and they even advertise cars they can't get. We have everything we advertise. We service what we sell. There's no Carvana service department.
No. And where do they get their cars from?
Us.
They get them from us.
I was talking to somebody the other day. I said, we got to start keeping more cars behind the fence. Yep. If the average car is sold 4 times in its lifetime, the guy that sold it the last time made more money than the previous 3 put together.
Right.
If you get a service contract that'll cover a high mileage car, we need to start keeping some more of what we've been wholesaling.
Yeah, that's another thing. All those cars are good cars. I mean, if you spend $2-3 grand on it to make it a car, you don't have to make any money on it as long as the service department makes money. And I mean, it's better than taking it to the auction and paying the auction fees and breaking even on it or making up $100. There's other areas to make money on the car. It doesn't have to be on the front end.
How's F&I doing nowadays?
Our F&I department's doing well. It's our main machines in California. That's the F&I machine. Those guys are doing very well. And here as well, we don't really concentrate on a lot of products. Our big thing in F&I is less is more. What I care about is retention and service contracts. So service contracts, we're about 55% service contract penetration and maintenance. Those are my 2 hot buttons here. And we don't make a dime on maintenance. I know there's different schools of thought on that. But I believe maintenance is just a retention tool.
Okay, so maintenance is a throwaway. If break even, you're okay with it.
I'm okay with it because
a lot of dealers look at it as a major profit center, but you're looking at it as a customer retention product that keeps them coming back to you. And do you self brand on that, or you're using a vendor?
We're using a vendor.
Yeah, but a lot of the thought now is when you self-brand on maintenance, you basically keep a forfeiture. When people don't use the product, you still get the profit.
Correct.
Yeah. So digital retail, how your website's set up? Can you sell a car without a human being interacting?
Yes. Well, they can do everything online. Yes.
Is that going to be what a Roadster or
Roadster.
Prodigy or it is Roadster?
It is
Okay.
Roadster, yes. Roadster is what we use through Kia. Honda has its own program. As a matter of fact, Roadster just reached out to me and said, I think they just joined with Honda and want to talk to me about possibly joining with Roadster. So I'll hear what they have to say. But they're doing very well with Kia. We're happy with Roadster so far.
Yeah, Roadster seems to be the leader as far as getting as close to transaction as possible.
They're the most expensive, but you get what you pay for sometimes, right?
Well, consumers aren't cooperating with the program. We found out. Consumers are going partially into the process, but they're still coming into the dealerships.
Right. No, people still want to touch, smell, feel. I mean, there's still that part. It's still a people business. It's always going to be a people business. No matter how much research is done online, at the end of the day, that personal touch is always going to be there. And I think we're in trouble as a society when that disappears.
Fantastic. Well, let's see. I know you got a family. Is there another generation coming behind you?
We'll see. Yeah, I mean, my daughter and my niece, they're both off to college this year, so they're both graduating from high school. And then our sons behind them are looking at it. But everyone right now is saying they want to go business, so we'll see.
Okay, so I see so many third generation kids say, "I'm not going to do it," and then they end up doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I hope they do. I hope they do. And one thing I learned was what my dad did with me, and that's kind of the same way I would do it with them. He didn't give me the keys to the store and says, "Here you go, son. Congratulations on your last name. You're a leader."
No, he didn't. I know a little bit of that story.
So I sold cars for a few years, and then got promoted to assistant manager. And then when I became the new car manager and I came back from dealer school from NADA, probably the biggest compliment I ever received in the car business was my dad asked our GM at the time, how's Michael doing? He's like, Lou, honestly, he can go get a job anywhere he wants to as a sales manager in Atlanta right now. So to me, that was the biggest compliment. I know my dad liked hearing that, but it was from working the same hours everyone else did, leading by example, going through the.
I know you did, and I know it was probably a pretty tough love. I don't think it was easy. I don't think it was just handed to you for a second. You're
tough love, sometimes the best.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it had to be. So, how about processes? Now you've got 4 stores, about to have 5, correct?
4, about to be 8.
Yeah, you are a brave man.
Yeah, especially building 4 stores with this steel supply, and steel's 5 months. Takes 5 months to get, but yeah, it'll be an interesting time to build 4 stores. I can tell you that.
Interesting time. Are you standardizing the processes, or do the partners have pretty well free reign on how they do business?
It's a standardized process. We make sure. Again, it all starts with culture first. So the culture, the Lousop culture is implemented in every one of our stores and will be implemented in all of our stores, which basically is employee satisfaction, which leads to consumer satisfaction. That's the key component.
Take care of your people.
Happy, they're not going to make your consumers happy.
Amazing. I've heard the word culture so much lately in these interviews.
Yeah.
I had Richie Newsom from Germain Honda in Ohio last week,
Mm-hmm.
and they're selling 650 units a month, and that was a Honda environment.
Mm-hmm.
And he's talking about culture. The other Germain store, Germain Toyota in Naples, talking about culture, 500 units a month. So the producers, the people that are doing it, are all talking culture. I'm hearing it over and over again. You establish the dealership culture. Once you have the law, there's no room for outlaws.
Right.
And you define it. So many dealers today don't have a defined culture. They got an ethereal idea of what they want to do, but they really haven't got something defined. So I'm going to understand that the Sobh culture is defined. Is it in writing? I mean, can they read it? Can they see it? Can they put their hands around it?
The writing, no, it's not in writing, but it is something that we talk about all the time, and it's something that we just know. Everyone here, as I'm looking around at the store, I mean, we opened 7 years ago. You bought a car from me 7 years ago. You walk in the door today, you'll see all the same faces. Everyone's
Really?
here. Yes.
So you've eliminated a lot of turnover, or a
No,
significant amount?
no, pretty much we have this. Everyone that we have has been here for years and years, and that goes for all of our stores.
Yeah, that is amazing to me that you would have that kind of retention in this volatile market. So, well, how about the Generation X, the Generation Y? Are they coming in?
Yeah, that's actually Jacob was. He's one of our. He's a kid that came in, and he just turned 30, but he started from day one internet sales. He started at 22 years old. He did a great job for 2 years, and I said, Jacob, I'm going to give you an opportunity. So I bumped him up to the desk, and the kid has taken complete ownership. He's an absolute all-star. We're so lucky to have him, and just like everyone else, and everyone gels, everyone has fun, and he's doing as good as anyone can. And like I said, he's a 30-year-old kid. I call him a kid, but I mean he's now that we're not 30 anymore, we can start calling them kids, I guess.
I got underwear older than him.
Yeah. But no, we have some definite youth here, and everyone talks about how much fun it is to come to work. No one messes with them. They're not micromanaged. They're all empowered. A big word I like to use is empowerment.
I was getting you stole a question right out of my mouth. Empowerment.
Yes.
So they can make decisions, especially as far as customer experience, customer satisfaction. What level of experience can a salesperson or a manager make a decision like that?
If you had to really, there's really not a line, but if you had to draw a line, once it starts getting to the $2,000 range and up, we'll talk about it more, and I'll give them a way to go. But we always go in the way of the customer. We never look at policy. Everyone looks at policy as an expense, but I view it as an investment. That, to me, policy is like an advertising tool, retention tool. But as they all know, they all have carte blanche. If a customer is dissatisfied in any way, and it costs $500 to make them happy, do it. Because if you don't, they're going to leave upset, and they're going to come see me, and I'm going to give it to them anyway, and the customer experience has been ruined. So I don't get upset if they give away the service or whatever we need to do to make the customer happy, but I am upset if they talk to them and it didn't happen, and then they get to me. I'm like, you shouldn't have gotten to me.
I used to say, don't let them get to me.
Yeah, don't let
when
them
I was in management, don't let them get to me.
And you pay for it in so many different ways. Our Google reviews are all 4.8 and higher. It's because that I can't tell you how many customers have come bought cars from us that says we drove by 3 stores because we saw your great reviews. Our service department, we've been in this Honda store for 7 years. We have 18 stores in our district. They have been number 1 in the district in service CSI every month for 7 consecutive years, except for 2 months they were number 2.
Amazing. That kind of performance. That's why we're here today. That's why I reached out to you and said, I got to talk to you.
Yeah. And again, so we're paying extra money that we normally wouldn't have had to pay to satisfy the customer. But, okay, so we got another Honda open point, and then you get another Honda open point. It's when the manufacturers want want that kind of treatment. They want to be represented in that way, and that's fair.
Like, because in Atlanta, the Lou Sobh organization, I'm well familiar with you. You got creds in the market. I started out. I got my initial creds with Dyer and Dyer Volvo back when we went selling 800 units a month. Which in a Volvo store, which Atlanta is just one heck of a market. I was with Potamkin in the day.
Okay,
you recall that, but so amazing. So Google My Business, direct marketing. So you are deeply into the social media, the SEO, the SEM. You're really into technology marketing.
Yes, and again, I would highly encourage anyone listening. And one of the best things I did was, especially having 4 stores. Even if you have 1 store, you can still do it. And go in Indeed and put out there that you're going to pay 6 figures for a true marketing, like social media marketer.
Whoa, 6 digits for a real experienced social media marketer.
Correct.
See, I already knew that Facebook is the cheapest, most effective pay-per-click out there. Your Facebook Marketplace is going wild, and now we've got Google My Business, which has just opened up their cars listings, which is incredible. And so many dealers aren't even aware that they can do that. You got to have that expertise on staff that's watching it.
When she came in, we realized our Google My Business wasn't correct. There were so many things that we were, you spend all this money in advertising and on digital marketing, but if you don't have the correct things and you're not optimizing it, you have all those holes in the barrel and the water's leaking out. You want to retain all that money and you want to give yourself the biggest bang for the buck. And that's what that position has really helped us do. I mean, if someone has it without doing it, kudos to them. But for us, we felt the real need to have someone dedicated 100% full time to these posts, to these blogs, to this optimization, to answering every review, to being at all of our grassroots marketing events. Because again, I dedicate part of my budget is actually 10% of my budget every month is grassroots.
So you're out in the community. You're giving back to the community. Imagine you got some little league baseball teams and some other things.
We got a whole wall, and in Honda, the Gen 3, you have that big wall. We're going up. We have all the different plaques, and so when customers come in, they see that big giant wall. But we don't turn anyone down. We're in every high school.
So you've got the Wall of Fame.
Yes,
that's amazing. I take full credit for inventing that. That's in my book in the 80s.
Yes.
I said all those plaques in the bottom of the dealer's closet, I want them on one wall in one place between service and sales.
Yeah.
So hey, man, things I invented are now coming into reality. I'm proud of me.
And I get a lot of texts and a lot of comments saying, you know what, we want to support those businesses who support us.
Exactly.
Not everyone's going to pay attention, but a lot of people do.
There was a dealer in Oklahoma City, Mac Heights, and Mac Heights built an arena in his dealership, like an amphitheater, and let the community use it. He had conference rooms in the dealership that the community could use for their meetings. And so I have seen all levels. I've been in 1,000 stores and I've seen so much, and you are a great example of that.
Yeah, we don't let a local event go by without being part of it.
If we had to tell people anything, because this broadcast is going to be a lot of GMs and dealer principals. I mean, this isn't, you and I are not going to appeal to salespeople on this broadcast.
Right.
Our audience is going to be smaller, but it's going to be a more executive audience, especially when I put this all over social media. I've got 150,000 friends and followers and on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, but we're going to be everywhere.
We should have hired you as our social media manager then. If you want to retire from this, you can 150,000. You're obviously doing something right.
I'm teaching it to young people. It's kind of interesting. Yeah, no secret. I'm 74 years old. I'm teaching internet to young people. That's
Well, again, one thing I always said, that's one thing that we appreciate is you stay relevant.
You got to.
You stay relevant.
The paradigms have shifted so many times. And I tell people in the car business, in the training business, in the dealership business, shift with the paradigm. Don't resist the change. Mm-hmm. Be ahead of the change. It's going to happen. I've got an article that I wrote in Digital Dealer Magazine this month called "What Is."
Yeah.
Stop fighting the paradigm. It's going to happen anyway. So if there was anything you want to tell people before we conclude this broadcast, what would it be? What have we not talked about?
It's just, there's really just embrace change. One thing I've seen, and I've been seeing it, so I've had a lot of people call me trying to get jobs, to be honest with you. But one thing I will say is right now we're in a position in the car business where, incomes are elevated, to say the least. And I'm hearing a lot of people that are cutting pay plans as a reaction to it. And they're losing a lot of great people doing it. So I would say, if don't change the pay plans, don't cut.
Michael, I set world records in the car business.
Mm-hmm.
And the last couple of jobs I had, I left because of pay plan cuts.
I hear that all the time, and honestly, the only times I'm going to change the pay plan is if I'm going to tell you, you're doing a great job, I'm going to give you a little more percentage. That's the only kind of pay plan changes I can think of. Or if it's just crazy, you might adjust the bonus levels a little bit, but don't mess with people's pay.
I couldn't believe it. One of the dealers, and I won't name the dealer, but one of the dealers reduced my pay plan. I said, "Would you be kindly enough to have somebody take me home?" Because I had a demo.
Yeah.
And they took me home, and then they hired me back as a consultant for more money than they had paid me as an employee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That happens. That makes perfect sense.
I always had a theory: hire the best people and pay them too much.
And honestly, Jim, that's kind of been our philosophy. You know what? You get what you pay for. Hire the most ethical, customer experience friendly people. We're part of our communities. And there's me and my wife, my kids, we eat in all the same restaurants as all of our customers, and we check in the same doctor's office. And when we hear, "Oh, we bought a car from you, we had the best experience," that's what it's all about. Once that happens, when your employees are happy, making your customers happy, the numbers all take care of themselves at the end. They really do. And you can micromanage all the numbers all you want, but at the end of the day, if that's happening, the numbers will be there.
The numbers will be there. Now, the last thing we talk about today is that you went to Dealer Academy with NADA?
Yes, in 2000.
Okay, very good. Because there's two schools for growing dealers right now. That's going to be NADA and Northwood.
Okay.
And I was talking to a dealer last week, and she had graduated from Northwood. I'm teaching a general management class online at Northwood.
Okay.
How to be a general manager. So would you recommend that the dealers today get their kids involved in one of the two?
Yeah, I would, because it's something that, at that point, there needs to be a background. I wouldn't put them in there without having any background in the car business. They need to work in there for a little bit and see how it works. So again, the material that they're listening to is relevant. So once once I was getting close to becoming a general manager is when my dad sent me. So that's when I went in 2000. I tell you what, I don't know if I still know how to read a financial statement if it wasn't for that whole week class.
That's what I was going to say. If you can't read a financial statement, you can't operate a dealership. And I mean, if you can't tear it apart line item by line item,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you yeah, and today it's on the screen. I mean, it's not even a piece of paper anymore. You can do it.
Yeah, and then the whole service part of it, and the parts and the obsolescence. I mean, I heard words I never even understood, and it's a great tutorial. It's only a week every 2 months, I think it was, and they give you a bundle of homework. But yeah, I would absolutely recommend it 1,000%.
That's why I never became a dealer or a general manager, because I didn't understand service department. I didn't want to just. Yeah, I'm a variable guy, and I rose to general sales manager multiple, but I never was a GM, and I wasn't a dealer because of that.
Hmm.
I just never had an interest in service, and I kick myself these days for that.
Right.
So, Dealer Academy, Mike, absolute pleasure visiting with you today. Absolute.
Well,
Yeah.
enjoyed it, and thanks for having me.
Well, I'll tell you what, big guy, we're gonna get together again sometime soon online, and tell Peeler I said hi if you see him before I do.
I will. I'll probably be talking to him here in the next hour or so. So I'll make sure and tell him you said hello.
Take